Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Red for Anfield Index. It is Sunday, the 11th of May. The sun is shining. It is glorious here. Hopefully, it is exactly the same where you are, wherever you are in the world. I'm Dave Davis coming to you from glorious Edinburgh. Absolutely planning the barbecue. What are your ribs, chicken, wings, man? Just burgers and sausages. It's all going on later, to be honest. But before that goes on later, there's a million and one things to talk about with Liverpool, the Premier League, rumours, various things. So strap in, ladies and gents, as we run you all the way close to, probably if I'm right, I think it's Newcastle-Chelsea kicks off at midday. So we'll see how we get on there. But the Premier League, it's worth talking about this. It's worth talking about it with a bit of a Liverpool slant as well, of course. 4:30, we'll talk about that very shortly, of course we will. But this is interesting, isn't it? This game at midday, not too long now, Newcastle-Chelsea, the appetizer before the main course. If you ask me on that one, probably the day the Isak dream dies for those who are clinging on to it remotely, because I do think Newcastle win that, which pretty much all but confirms their Champions League position, doesn't it? We'll see, but I think that's what will happen. So the Isak dream, for many, I think, will die today. Look at this. People messaging already. O'Neill Padilla watching from Darwin in Australia. We'll talk about Darwin, of course, O'Neill, but a different one in a different way as well. But yeah, plenty of games going on. Forest as well, playing Leicester. That's part of the Champions League. I don't think we're looking at any Forest players, are we, at all, before the main course at 4:30, which we will get stuck right into. But before we get to that, let's look at all the other Liverpool news. There's links galore. And it's crazy to think that we sit here on the 11th of May. The transfer window one opens on the 1st of June, doesn't it? Don't forget that, people. Transfer window one. Mainly adjusted, apparently, for the Club World Cup clubs. City and Chelsea was going, but everyone can take part. Of course they can. And then there's a small break and it goes again to transfer window two. But things are ramping up and names galore. And it is the same names, it's important to say, are on the docket, which means there's a couple that are familiar. And I'm hovering over this story on the screen here. Hato on standby as Liverpool push to land Hoyson. So for anyone that missed this yesterday, Fabrizio Romano said that Liverpool are still looking at Hoyton, what a name, Dean Hoyson, but Jarell Hato is in the mix on standby. Couple of issues with this, and I'll let you think whatever you want to about Fabrizio Romano. Probably best just to say no more on that because he'll divide opinion either way. But let's talk about these two players. I'm a little bit worried about both of these in different ways. I've said it before, but it's still just troubling me, this one. Dean Hoyson, sensational talent. I really do. There's a reason why all the Premier League clubs are looking at this player, 20 years old. And those who can see the FBref graphic, it's just a sea of green, isn't it? Literally a sea of green. Even defensive metrics, 97th percentile, clearances 96th, progressive carries for centre-backs, 93rd percentile. All his attacking metrics, sensational. Probably things you would call out. Pass completion in the 22nd percentile, 83.5%. So that's in the mix. I mean, a supreme talent. And Christophe Dugarry, probably not the French legend, saying that, I hope we get this guy. I hope we get Hoyson. But I don't know about you, ladies and gents. I have a real fear of what this means. Because I have a feeling if we get Hoyson, it's facilitated by a Konate exit. And I don't like that one little bit. I want them both. I think if you've got Van Dijk, Konate and Hoyson, I've said it before, brilliant. That's the best collection with even a Kwanzaa, a Goma, whoever. That's the best collection of centre-backs going. Full stop. Brilliant. And this is not to be derogatory about Dean Hoyson, because you can see there such a talent, really good, plays off both feet. We've all seen the highlights. We all know the ceiling is huge for this kid. But right now, I don't care, because some people have said this before when they look at it, this shows he's better than Konate. No, he is not. He is not a better defender right now than Ibou Konate, unfortunately. And I know when people are putting about the PSG links, isn't it? It's not good. You do get the feeling that all the contract talk we're hearing that Konate wanting, more than double, around 200 grand, Liverpool not being prepared to budge. I do think that this might just be the hill the bean counters settle on. They're not going to budge for that, which I don't like at all. And the big thing to say about the two right now as a key metric is, if you look at Hoyson's aerial duel success there, 60.6, and that's come up, but it's well below a 72% Ibou Konate. So keep that in mind. And yeah, and I'm not debating that at all. People are big on this one, that if Konate wants to go, let him. People, Scott saying there, I get it. We got to sell him if he won't sign. We can't afford more frees. And people also defending Hoyson. Ollie Chuck once there, and Hoyson's just turned 20, plenty of time to develop. Please let me, because I think people may be misunderstanding what I'm saying. I want Hoyson and Konate with VVD. That's sensational, a collection of centre-backs. Hoyson, his ceiling is massive. He can be an absolute star. He really can. Could overtake Konate in the future. Right now, though, to lose two of the four defenders that have been key this season, with Trent going and Konate, I don't see that as a positive at all. And that's what I'm fearing in this regard. My opinion. You're all entitled to yours. But that's why I'm not high on Dean Hoyson if it happens just now. We'll see what develops. But back to the original story was that Hato, Joel Hato, the Dutch international, is the backup, the standby. Couple of things to say on this. A lot of people have looked at this kid. We know he's been to Anfield, know his touch. So that goes into the mix, left-footed, can play two positions, as people say. There's a couple of things to call out on a lot of the things I'm seeing around this kid. He's talented. He's 19. Absolutely. He's playing over nearly 4,000 minutes already this season. But as a few sort of regular Dutch watchers, and shout out to Patrick in our Discord, who often gives a bit of detail on this. Not played, look at those stats. Not played centre-back this season. So why are we all just saying that, or accepting that he's the alternate when he's not played centre-back? That's the first thing to call out. He has in his career, but he's not in the last year. And if you look now at his FBref profile, his centre-back profile has disappeared because he hasn't played centre-back for that long. So just put that in the mix a little bit. For anyone was like, oh, he's not even in the same league as Hoyson as a centre-back. He's mild, So just put that in the mix. Now, this isn't being harsh on the kid at all as well, because I think he's a talented player. But his aerial duel success is 57%. So if you're counting him as a centre-half, I think you've got big issues there. Yeah? Now, there's some great stats. He's a passer. Look at that, 83rd percentile against other fullbacks. Look at that pass completion, 89.2%. The 99th percentile. So you look at that as well. Here's your big problem where it starts. Not played centre-back in over a year. Not at all aerial dominant, until aerial suspect a little bit as a centre-back, not as a left-back. Let me be clear on that. Eredivisie attacks, I should be saying that about 8,000 times, shouldn't I, really? Because if you look at who he's compared against, Like, look at the names. People at Leeds, Sunderland. I'm not trying to be disrespectful because I think the kid's a talent. But there's quite a few who cover the Dutch league are saying this kid is miles away from being ready for Liverpool just now. Yes, the potential's there. Yes, he looks a player. Yes, he's in the Dutch national team. But everyone is saying it who, covers every division. People in our Discord say you watch the Dutch league from Holland regularly. He is miles off it. If, and this is an if, and that's why I'm almost discounting this story about him being a Hoyson alternative. If it was Hato on the left and Frimpong on the right, you could get that, couldn't you? One bombing on, one who almost tucks in and makes the third centre-back. That shift a little bit like Slot had at Feyenoord when it was Gertruda, wasn't it, who was the inverted one. You could see that. But that's Hato then at left-back, not at centre-back, which is what the story is clearly implying. So for me, you may have a different opinion, and the chat panel is buzzing on this. That's fine. I don't see that one. And I'll tell you why I don't see that one as well. Anyone see that? For Ian Doyle wrote, and I think this is the feeling now. Milos Kerkez, Liverpool are strong favourites to sign him. Ian Doyle said it in the Echo. Lewis Steele has mentioned it from the Daily Mail. And shout out to Lewis Steele because he started his YouTube channel, so give him a follow on that as well. He's mentioned that and saying that Liverpool are being respectful of Bournemouth because of the current situation. At the time he wrote it, they were chasing Europe. Anyone clock what happened yesterday? Villa beat Bournemouth 1-0, which now means if you look with 7th place, potentially getting you the Europa, is it conference spot, isn't it? Bournemouth can't get it anymore. So Bournemouth are out of European qualification, which the reason thinking, why am I pointing this out, is interesting because you do wonder this coming week, will we hear more about Kerkez and whatever's happening there or not? Will we hear more about Dean Hoyson? Because we keep hearing that Bournemouth are keen for him to make a decision. Well, if they're not chasing Europe anymore, essentially their season's finished, isn't it, really, in terms of anything? So, yeah, we'll just keep an eye if we get anything on that. And people have got opinions on it, the left-back situation, yeah. IK saying that Aïnouri's a better defender and better going forward than Kerkez. We actually run them on transfer market metrics, Aïnouri versus Kerkez. Not saying that is wrong based on what we ran. And you can obviously watch that yourselves in that regard. So, yeah, in terms of the stories at the moment, that's the centre-back, the left-back situation, which is interesting because it was right-backs yesterday, wasn't it? And Frimpong, Vanderson, Wesley at Flamengo. So, yeah, we will see what develops in the defensive situation. But moving right up the pitch, ladies and gents, Darwin Nunez. Never thought I'd say this, but it just has the feeling that Darwin Nunez holds the key for Liverpool's summer right now. What I mean by that is Nunez is leaving. It's absolutely clear as day that Darwin Nunez is going to depart. Of course it is. However, it's where he's going to depart to. And the reason I'm saying that, there was 2 real stories. I've got one of them on the screen yesterday. Matteo Moretto saying that Napoli have made an inquiry for Darwin Nunez. And also, as it came out yesterday, Saudi, the Al Hilal are looking to do a deal for the 1st of June. Yeah, Ollie Chotwell mentioned it. Everybody goes for a big fee. That was mentioned in a few articles, wasn't it, yesterday, that ahead of the Club World Cup, they're looking to get that done. So you're thinking, why am I talking about this? Because there's 3 big stories on Darwin recently about Napoli, as is on the screen. Atletico. Remember that Sam Maguire story that came out and was, a lot of people were talking about that Liverpool would look at using Nunez in Alvarez as a make-weight, if you want to call it that. I'm sure you've all seen the Sam Maguire story there. And then the third one, the Saudis, who will hopefully drive a truck full of cash up to the AXA to facilitate that departure. It does feel like Nunez will set the summer up a little bit for us as to how big we go, yes or no. And also, I'm going to be honest, I think the summer is going to be defined by the 9 that comes in. Yes, there's other positions, left backs. I'm not saying that. But the summer is going to be defined by the 9 that comes in. Who's going to be playing alongside Mo Salah? Yeah. And it leads you to thinking, doesn't it? Because if it is Napoli and a deal can be made there, this is a player that's been mentioned. You'll see him on the screen. Victor Osimhen. I mean, yeah, the stats there. And I get it. People are going to start shouting now about AFCON. People are going to start talking about injuries. People are going to start talking about wages. People are all sorts of things. But of course, that all goes into the mix. Maybe his attitude as well. However, Napoli have got a year left of Osimhen's contract. If Napoli are serious about Darwin Nunez, you wouldn't put it past Liverpool to make a potential deal there as well. Not saying it's likely. If you ask me honestly, it still feels like Saudi is in the mix. And then there's a ruck of cash there. Of course, if Alvarez comes into the mix, we'll have to see. But in simple terms, the reason I'm mentioning this, ladies and gents, Napoli, Atletico, Saudi. It does feel like Darwin Nunez will be a big part of Liverpool's summer and set it off in that way. Not too long to find out what will happen. Other stories to mention to you, and this player whose agent just doesn't pipe down, or does it, they're quite keen to hype this one a little bit. Malik Fofana, Lyon player, left winger, Belgium international now as well. Had a good few games against Manchester United, if you watched that in the Europa League, didn't he? But why is this? Because this agent keeps mentioning that Liverpool is this kid's dream, that it's the perfect move for him. It's one that just keeps coming up and up and up again. And maybe it is agent hype, which, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, people. Malik Fofana, only 20 years old. Agent is Rock Sports. I think that's Jay-Z's. Someone could tell me if I'm wrong on that. But you just wonder, because this kid wants to come to Liverpool. You think about Lyon's troubling financial situation. Well, troubling for them anyway. And you start to look a bit more. And me and Bart's have ran him on transfer market metrics before. 11 goals, 6 assists across Liga and the Europa League. You look at certain ones of his stats and you just wonder about certain things that, he is a carrier. Look at that. Progressive carries, just shy of 7 a game. 98th percentile. Gets it high up the pitch as well. 89th percentile there, over 11 progressive passes received. So he gets it high up. He helps to advance the ball and then directly advances it himself as well. And non-penalty goals, 91st percentile. So you just think a young left winger who wants to come to Liverpool. And if you look at his FB ref profile and similar names that we heard of, Gittins, Garnacho, we'll get him off the screen quickly anyway. But yeah, all those things go into the mix, don't they, for this kid? And when you overlay him alongside Luis Diaz in the red, Fofana in the blue, he's a bit higher on assists, certain defensive metrics as well, which might surprise people at the same time. And of course, his carries. So, yeah, it's one with Malik Fofana that if he desperately wants to come, Lyon's financial situation, you're not going to like this word, but you do wonder just if it's one of those opportunistic ones, isn't it, that FSG do like. So all that comes into the mix at the same time. So, yeah, ladies and gents, to be honest, for the regular news doing round about Liverpool, it's all about the names, isn't it? Which I get, because transfer window 1 opens in about 3 weeks' time, isn't it? So we're focusing on that. However, today, What we're also focusing on is this. Liverpool versus Arsenal. 4:30. Lego Head and his merry men giving that guard of honour. Even that is going to be sweet, isn't it? So sweet. And you know they'll boo in the ground. You know it's going to be a magnificent sea of red everywhere. You know everyone's going to be up for it. The fans are. The fans will be desperate to win this because we've heard enough of Arsenal fans over recent times and all the things they say. We've heard enough of Lego Head with his, we were the best team in the Champions League. We've heard enough of Declan Rice, who's backtracked. Did anyone clock that one? Saying that, with our 6 and 7 injuries, it would have been different. But then today, his comments are around that, oh no, it's, the better team won. Probably someone had a smart word with him in that regard. But it's them. Now, I'm saying that we will be up for it. Of course we will. Liverpool, ladies and gents, seem to have been away when you look at all the social media on holiday till Thursday. So only came back then. So I don't know what state these players are going to be in. Also, they're flying to Dubai after this game as well. And on warm weather training, a wind down. I don't know what it's for, but Liverpool are flying to Dubai after this training as well. So I don't know quite how sharp we will be. You hope Chelsea's not an indicator, but they've got that out the system maybe. I don't know. It's just so hard to gauge. But this is, in simple terms, a massive game today for us. We want to win it, don't we? And with that being said, I think it will be Alisson Becker, VVD, Canate, I think Robbo, Connor Bradley's going to start. I don't even like hovering over his name anymore, so we'll just move it forward a bit. But there's be another right back on the bench. What do you reckon the reception will be like if he gets on? It's a big question, that one, isn't it? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong, but what is right is that Connor Bradley starts, and provided he stays fit, touch wood, keep starting at right back for the rest of the season. Midfield, it's your strongest lineup. It's a Bosline, McAllister and Grav. Grav, who had the whole week off last week for Chelsea, should be fresh there. Then it'll be Salah on the right. It's who plays with him. Luis Diaz is going to start. I think it will be as the false 9. I do. And I think Cody Gakpo will be on the left, which, if you think about it, if you switch that player for Bradley, is essentially the team that played against Tottenham, isn't it? The strongest. I think it will be his strongest lineup that he goes with in this one. Prediction-wise, it could genuinely be anything because you don't know how locked in the players are themselves, but maybe it's hard. I think a 2-1 victory, Mo Salah to be on the score sheet, and Salah loves scoring against Arsenal, doesn't he? So we'll see what develops there. So, yeah, just the guard of honour is going to be brilliant, isn't it, at the same time? For us, though, what else is coming up on the docket? 1,000,001 things for you. Even later today, you'll have Jack doing the watch-along for the game. You'll have the Gags Tandem show afterwards as well. You'll also have Raw out later with Dave, Trev, and whoever will be joining them as normal. So plenty of content coming all the way through to the game. Even in the last 24 hours. Look at all the stuff that's come out in the last day or so. Vanderson review. Jan Mulby talking about Adam Wharton. And as a little aside, I know Wharton's a manifestation for a lot of you, a lot of people. There's a great article by Jonathan Northcross, so shout out to him, a regular on Media Matters, about Adam Wharton. So well worth a read, that one, if you clock it as well. An ambitious kid. Interesting. Love that. Specialist in failure. AI scouted Mikel Arteta review there. A bit of a review about rival recon. So AFTV, not Troops, not Robbie, or not the guy who wears the headphones with the hat and just denies anyone else is a good team. But well worth a listen, rival recon as well. And then just some discussion from Dave around potential targets around attacking midfielders. So 1,000,001 things for you to feed into during the game. But if you're enjoying the weather like me and you're staging your afternoon, you can get it all rammed up. You can have an entree at 12 very shortly, Newcastle-Chelsea. You can then go into Forest versus Leicester, Champions League chase before this absolute main course. 4:30 today. Tune in just a bit earlier if you are, because the Guard of Honour will be well worth seeing, of course, won't it? And we'll see what's brought at Anfield. Noise, a sea of red, and fans wanting to win will definitely be served up. But there we go, ladies and gents. Hopefully it is nice where you are. Hopefully you enjoy your day. Hopefully it's a victory for Liverpool by 6:30 this evening. But on Sunday, the 11th of May, that was another Daily Red for Anfield Index.